This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by North Shore Community College. If you have the will to attend college, we have the way for you to earn your degree.
Good morning and welcome back to LCTV News. I'm Dani Vittori, and this week on the Lynn Lowdown, we had Pastor Gina Cordy from First Church to discuss how their space can be used not just as a church, but a community area. For news, climate change is being addressed, the fire department took center stage, and Veterans Day events were in full swing. Here is the news for Friday, November 18th, 2022. Despite the watering and gardening season being over, the levels in the Lynn Reservoir continue to drop and are now sitting at 38% capacity, which is half the average for this time of year. According to Water Superintendent Richard Dani, if precipitation patterns change and if they can get access to the Ipswich River beginning December 1st, then it could start to turn the trend around. However, a reliance on the MWRA could mean financial strain on the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission. The amount of rainfall between now and December will determine if and how much money would need to be invested in supplying water. Fire Chief Stephen Archer announced that he will retire on January 4th to cap off a 29-year career with the Lynn Fire Department. Archer first became a firefighter in 1993 before moving to the rank of lieutenant in 1999, captain in 2002, district fire chief in 2012, and was sworn in as fire chief in 2018. He established and runs the Youth Fire Academy program, the main purpose of which is to teach teenagers the skills involved in a fire career service through hands-on learning. District Chief Daniel Sullivan will take over once Archer retires and will also be in charge of several future programs, including the fire department's community medicine program, a waterfront safety initiative, and a program to teach high school students life-saving emergency response skills. The Ford Elementary School Parent-Teacher Organization is looking for clothing donations for the families affected by the Circuit Street fire, which displaced over a dozen people and took the life of a child. Donations needed range from adult clothes to shoes and clothing for children in a variety of sizes. 2 of the children left homeless by the fire attend Ford Elementary, and donations can be dropped off at the school, 49 Hollingsworth Street. The Red Cross also started a GoFundMe page, which has raised more than $17,000 for the families. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts has committed to being carbon neutral and zero waste by 2030. This connects to new climate change action goals and 770,000 environmental justice grants. This goal is set to be completed 2 decades ahead of the Paris Agreement on climate change. Since 2010, they have reduced the amount of waste going to landfills by almost 80%. Blue Cross also signed the Massachusetts 2022 Climate and Clean Energy Bill, as well as the Biden administration's White House Health Sector Plans, which focus on climate change within the U.S. healthcare system. Blue Cross will also be giving $10.6 million in direct financial contributions and $5.5 million pro bono to nonprofit organizations in Massachusetts. Lynn Community Health Center is one of the recipients of the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts Health Justice Partnership and Grant Program focus on environmental justice. The Kiwanis Club has returned to Lynn after an absence of several years. It is a club with over 200,000 members worldwide and focuses on youth and children programs. Each individual club sets their own service parameters and chooses their own service projects. Anyone 18 or older can sign up to be a member. According to the club, the goal is to connect like-minded people who, quote, want to improve the world, one child and one community at a time, end quote. They held their first meeting yesterday at the Democus YMCA, where members from other New England clubs were present, as well as representatives from their international headquarters in Indianapolis, Indiana, to answer questions. Mayor Gerald Nicholson is looking for volunteer applicants interested in serving on the Lynn Council on Aging. Those on the council are responsible for serving the senior population and organizing activities for the seniors in the city of Lynn. Applicants who have a solid connection to Lynn, as well as experience in senior care or advocacy, are encouraged to apply. Those involved in senior organizing, social services, community engagement, community activities, or recreational activities are some examples. Last Friday, Lynn hosted a Veterans Day breakfast and ceremony at City Hall. There was food in the foyer of City Hall before the ceremony took place in the auditorium. Here's a clip from the event.
I'm George A. Essery from Lynn, Mass. I serve the United States Navy in the Seabees in the Pacific. And I also like to mention my two brothers who are deceased, Ernest Essery, who was in the Army in Europe, and my brother, and Ray. They served in the Navy.
Yeah, Charlie Griffin. I served in the Marine Corps, 1977 to 1985.
Ralph Reed, Vietnam, 67 to 70, U.S. Army.
To see the full event, head to our website, lyntv.org. Later that day was the 8th annual Massachusetts Elementary School Cross Country Championship at Gannon Golf Course, giving the athletes a chance to compete and show their skills. Take a look.
I think it's very important because more kids are involved because it's very cheap to run. All they need is sneakers and they can go. We have cross-country race at our school for 1 mile, and they're all excited to run because it doesn't cost anything. It's great to have all the groups come together again to have a whole race because during COVID they weren't able to race each other. They were doing hikes with their parents, they were doing walks with the parents, but not many were running and exercising. But this gives that camaraderie back. Our father kids were cheering on some of the first and second graders. The last place girl, they were having such a fun time having that girl go and cheering each other on. I love seeing the camaraderie. We teach pace and trying to improve each time, personal best, and doing the best. We all have good days, we all have bad days, and as long as they're exercising, that's the most important thing. My kids were excited to come. It's an hour drive from Leominster to here, and they just love coming because I have my top 10 run the race, but all my kids can come to this even if they're not one of my top runners, and it gives them exposure because in middle school there's cross-country teams that they can join in the middle school. So.
Later that night, GALA hosted the opening reception for their new show. Artists are able to come, show their pieces, and get to enjoy a night of music and food. Here is more.
So this year I decided to focus on my water series. This bowl is an example of my water and pebble series. I put the glaze together myself, so it's kind of unique. I do everything by hand, and the fish are behind me, so it kind of goes together. I work out at the clay school in Lynn, and the bowls go through a process, obviously, starting with wet clay. They then have to be fired for bisque, and then I do the glaze. So it's probably a 3-week process.
This piece here is mine. This was done with a drone. So I was flying the drone around the park and photographed this high rock tower here. It was in the evening time as the sun was going down. I thought it was a piece that people from the Lynn area would be interested in. So that's why I printed it up for the show.
I'm Paula Engman, and my favorite thing to do is to paint with wild abandon. Painting gives me purpose in my life. It's the most challenging and happy place I have, and I expect I'm going to do it forever.
Saturday, the 12th, was the first Drinksgiving pub crawl. It began at 1 p.m. before moving between 4 different bars in the city. Put together by Sean Reed, Thomas Mackin, and Mike Quintana to raise money to buy turkeys for families in need. Here's more from the event.
We're at the Lynn Drinksgiving Pub Crawl. We were selling tickets online, and now we're out and about raising money to give turkeys to people who are in need right now, to give them a hand. We have a great turnout here in Lynn, as we always do with community events, coming together and helping our neighbors out. This is important because there are a lot of people going through struggles right now, but people need to know that we're here for them, we're here to help them, and we're a community, so anytime they need help, that's what we're here for. I want to thank all the bars for agreeing to help us out today, the Hibernian, Tony's Pub, Jade Pacifica, and Rollies for hosting us today, and also everyone who supported, everyone who donated, and also my co-organizer, Thomas Mackin. So thank you all. I'm very impressed by the turnout, but I am not surprised. Lynn always comes out to help their neighbors, so really excited. Thank you everyone who supported and helped us out.
Also on Saturday was the setup for the 8th annual Lynn Tech Festival of Trees. Businesses, organizations, and individuals came together to set up and decorate trees in the Lynn Tech Annex building. Running from the 13th to the 19th, all trees will be raffled off to raise money for the Lynn Tech Alumni Awards. Here is more.
So I'm Ashley Bennett from Busy Bee Nursery School here in Lynn. We have 2 locations, one in Lynn and one in Peabody. We are celebrating our 10th year in business this year, and this is our first time donating a tree to Lynn Tech.
Hi, I'm Christine Pierce from Columbia Insurance Agency, and Columbia has been donating a tree since the start of the Festival of Trees, and we love doing it. It's great to give back, and it's an awesome week, so hope everybody comes and sees them.
We've been doing this for 6 years now. It's a family event. I graduated here in 1990. I have a daughter that graduated here in 2019, and I have twin sons that graduated here in 2020. We do this every year, and we try to make sure that we get here every time to help other kids at LBTI, to help raise money for scholarships. It's a great cause, and I am on the alumni. But definitely, one thing is, check it out. A lot of people down here right now setting up, and we run from the 13th through the 19th, and it raises a lot of the money for these children that go to Lynn Tech, seniors, and 100% of it goes back to these kids.
Sunday was one of 4 performances for the Beyond the Blues fundraiser. A large crowd gathered to watch the performances by actors and musicians alike. Take a look.
We have a full house today. This is the last performance we've had. This is the 4th one during Veterans Day weekend. And I mean, I'm really excited. This is more than I would have ever expected. We got a very good crowd, very enthusiastic crowd. The cast is exceptional. The band is exceptional. This guy here on my right, he's a godsend. He really has done so much for the play. He kept it alive.
It's been an experience for me. You know, I spent 10 years in LA as an actor and stuff like that, and produced a small amount of independent films and little things like that, and toured with plays. So I had a little bit of experience, but it's my first time behind the scenes, and with the opportunity that Ralph gave me, I'm so grateful because I got to learn so much from this guy here. He's a genius. He wrote this fantastic, phenomenal piece of art here, and everybody's having a great time. It's been a fabulous run, and I'm just grateful to be here with Ralph.
Sometimes people don't think about the effects of demolishing a neighborhood, putting up condos, destroying like a community. And I think people have to realize when you start knocking down places that you are disrupting the lives of people. Music is a saving grace. It's a universal language. And that's one of the themes about the play, the overwhelming power of music. And it's worked for me in my life, and I know it works for other people as well.
Tuesday, the 15th, the Senior Center hosted a Veterans Recognition Meal and Benefits Checkup. They were treated to ice cream while also being able to connect with those working in veteran services for the city of Lynn. Here is more.
Hi, my name is Mike Sweeney. I'm the Director of Veteran Services, and we're down here at Front Street at the Lynn Senior Center. And I have to tell you, it's just been a great day. We've been able to connect with all of the veterans that are here and some of their family members. Having a great day. Now we just had a great lunch. So it's just been wonderful. Very well attended. This was for a Veterans Day, this luncheon, so we're going to come down here every month and do outreach and just get more and utilize this great space. And I want to say thank you to the staff down here, everyone involved, and just and all the people who've come down. Just a great day. Anytime you can come down and say thank you to people that served and their families, it's a great day. And then I think what you do too sometimes is we come to now that we have this great venue, we can just kind of utilize it that way. And I think it was an important event. We came down, we talked about benefits that they might be eligible for, ways to connect with us better, in City Hall. So it was a really great opportunity.
Now, the sports update. Last Friday, in a non-playoff game, the Lynn English football team defeated Boston Latin in commanding fashion, 37-8, to move to 5-5. Quarterback Edwin Castro began the scoring for the Bulldogs, rushing for their first 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. Lynn English relied heavily on the run game. Running back Jarvin Simon also rushed for 2 touchdowns, with all 3 running backs recording double-digit rushing yards on the first drive of the game. The Lynn Tech boys soccer team fell to Frontier Regional 5-1. Lynn Classical football fell to St. John's 20-6 for their 3rd loss in a row. The Rams were unable to score until the third quarter, where they were trailing 14-0. A 29-yard pass by R.J. Fassler to John Naskey put them on the board, but a missed extra point put the score at 14-6. They fought into the last whistle, but were unable to score again. They will now host Lynn English on Thanksgiving Day at Manning Field at 1 p.m. Now for playoff news. The 7th-seeded KIPP Academy football team advanced to the semifinals with the 21-12 victory over second-ranked Lowell Catholic. Halfway through the first quarter, Juan Sitalsing had a 60-yard completion to Vic Maffo to take a 7-point lead. Sitalsing had an impressive night, going 13 for 17 for 215 yards and completed a hat trick with 3 touchdowns through the air. Receiver Mornell Castro also had a strong night, catching 2 of those touchdowns and picking up 101 yards. The St. Mary's football team is in the Final Four of the Division VI MIAA playoffs after a 20-6 comeback win over Linfield last Friday. Spartans running back David Kulangis surpassed 1,000 rushing yards to join David Brown in that category. With close to 9 minutes left in the second, Ernie Panias rushed for a 75-yard touchdown down the sideline. He was responsible for 125 of the Spartans' 197 rushing yards in the first half. English would score again on an 18-yard throw by quarterback Tyler Guy, which was tipped but caught by Jake Marks. An 8-yard run by Kulangis gave the Spartans another score. They now advance to the Final Four of the playoffs. The Boston Celtics are in first place in the Eastern Conference while boasting an 8-game winning streak after defeating the Atlanta Hawks 126-102 on Wednesday. Derek White made his presence known with 16 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds in his 36 minutes of playing time. 6 other Celtics also had double-digit points in the scoring category, while also tacking on 30 or more points in 3 of the 4 quarters of play. They will now play the New Orleans Pelicans on the road as they look to make it 9 in a row. At 15-2-0, the Boston Bruins are sitting atop the Atlantic Division. They are also in the middle of a 5-game win streak. Last Sunday, the 13th, the Bees won 5-2 over the Vancouver Canucks. They spread the scoring around, with all 5 goals being scored by different players, including Tomas Nosek, who had his first goal of the year. Last night, the 17th, they won 4-1 over the Philadelphia Flyers, giving them their 10th straight victory at home. Boston scored 3 times in the final period. Jake DeBrusk scored on a power play, with David Krejci scoring the other 2 goals. Linus Ullmark also earned his 12th victory in 12 starts. They will now host the Chicago Blackhawks at home on Saturday, November 19th. On the Lynn Lowdown, we had Pastor Gina Cordy from the First Church of the Nazarene to discuss how their space is used by community organizations. Here is the lowdown. Good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have Pastor Gina Cordy here from the First Church of the Nazarene.
In Lynn, yes.
In Lynn, yes. I said that right. Beautiful. Thank you for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Great. And you said this time you want to talk a lot about some of the other uses for the building, some of the additional resources you have.
Right.
So where would you want to start with that? Is there any specific place? Or?
Sure. I think it's just really knowing that the church is a church, but there are other things that are happening in the community. Like we have a lot of recovery groups meeting there. We have Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. People wouldn't think these things are happening at a church, but they are. I think we got to mention last time a little bit about the food share table that we've been running for. Since COVID began, we got a grant That continues to operate out of the church, things of that nature.
And when groups come to you, how would they go about like using the space? Like, is there a way that they sign up or a way they come to you? Or
Right. They would contact either myself or Pastor Paul, who's not here today. He didn't need us both to talk about this. So they would contact me. They have the church number. I think you put that up. And we could talk about what their needs are, what they're looking for. There's a cost associated. It's nominal because we want to be a blessing to the community, not a burden. But obviously you use the building, you're using water, all those things. So there is a nominal cost associated, and really just trying to figure out, would it be a good fit? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is it that you want to do? How is it going to be a blessing to the community? And seeing if it'll be a good fit or not. But the first step is always a conversation.
Yeah, a conversation with the group, seeing what they want, seeing what you want, if the interests align. And why would you say it's so important to be renting out the space to other groups in the community? Like, why do you think that's important to do?
I think that's important because the church, a lot of people view the church as something separate. You can't approach a church. This is the church, this is the community, but the church has been a staple of the community forever. So really just letting them know that, no, you don't have to come to my church for me to support you. The church is not a building. We meet in the building. The way we view it is we're the church. We are the church. So the people are the church. The building is where we meet together. We go out into the community. So how can we be a community to the community as a church, if that makes any sense?
No, it does.
The church should be a community for the community, with the community, because there are things that we can take back from the community also. It's not just us. The community has a lot to give to us.
Yeah, you don't want them to be separate. You want them to be together, working with each other.
Exactly. And there are a lot of things we can be working on right now in the community and the world. So.
Yeah, I'd say so. I definitely, I would agree with that. And you talked about, sorry, it was the different groups that meet there. Do you have ones that like consistently meet? Do you have a lot of different groups? How does that usually work?
We have consistent recovery groups. They meet. We have one group that meets on Tuesday through Friday, I believe it is at 11:30. The other recovery groups meet in the evening at 7. That goes on from Wednesday, no, it's actually Tuesday to Saturday also. Girl Scouts meet on Saturdays at 1. Boy Scouts use the space whenever they want to, but I think it's like one Monday of the month they can use it more frequently. But there's still other times that the building could be available if people needed access. We've also been allowing the community van from Lynn Community Health Center to come and utilize our parking lot so they can run their mobile van, doing the COVID vaccines, doing health screenings right there on site. So we've been doing that. Again, I said the food share table where people can come if they have a food shortage, if they don't have enough food to feed their family, they will leave a message for the church, and then we will put together a bag and either they could pick it up or if they had no way of picking it up. It's not something we always do, but there are certain times when we'll have someone deliver it depending on availability. But that's usually done with agencies. So like the Community Health Center, they'll call me or email me. We have a contact person there. I need 20 bags for these families that I'm working with. We'll put them together. They'll have someone from Lynn Community Health come pick them up. There could be other agencies that do the same thing, and we're there and ready and willing to help, and we have the resources to do it.
Well, I think that's great, though, using the resources, really getting connected with the community. And you've mentioned it a little bit last time now, but the food share that started, what did you say? When
during COVID.
During COVID.
Right.
So that was kind of one of your responses to it?
Exactly. That's pretty much the largest response we've had to, because we shut down. But yes, that's been one of our largest response to COVID, in conjunction with, I think it's United Way, who got the grant, and then they corralled a lot of other agencies to participate in that within our area, and we were one of the agencies that they reach out to and work with, but there are other agencies involved. Like I said, Lynn Community Health reaches out to us, but it could be any agency in Lynn or any family in Lynn. Now that you'll have our phone number, call us. If we can be of help, we certainly would be happy to do that.
Yes, definitely.
And when you say they reach out to you, so do you do a lot of work with the organizations? Is it you? Is it Reverend Paul? Is it
it's Eileen
other people?
Brown, actually. Okay. We have, I would call her the coordinator of it. She's really my manager. Eileen Brown, she actually heads it up. She has volunteers that actually come out and help her on Tuesday evenings to put together the bags. She's the one that also leads the Girl Scouts. So she's been amazing. She does it. She puts the bags together. She works with United Way. The thing that I'm in charge of is making sure that the money doesn't run out and finding the grants for us to be able to continue to purchase the food. So we're pretty good right now, but at some point it's going to run out. So I got to get on top of that. So if anybody knows of any grants for food for Lynn, let me know.
Yeah. No, you do. You all have your important roles to it. You all work together to create this good system.
Yes.
Yeah. She's the coordinator, but then the grants are also very important, of course.
Absolutely. It won't work with no food.
No,
we'll be giving out empty bags.
Yeah, that wouldn't really be very helpful.
No, I'd probably get mobbed.
Oh. No, we don't want that.
No.
We definitely don't want that.
Not at all.
And looking a little bit into the future, what would you hope to use the space for? If you had to think about it, like something you would love to use the space for or something you would love to happen there? Is there anything that you can think of?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that question because I almost forgot to mention that we are looking to, I think Centerboard might be the only one that has it in the city right now, what's called the community fridge, where they have food in there and people can go take what they need. People can put food in there. So our church has been in discussion around there, really looking at the liability of it. But that is one of our goals within the next few months, to have a community fridge brought to our location because we own the property. You have to own it, and have a community fridge there. Beyond that, when I look forward, one of the things, as we know, churches are changing. People don't necessarily go to church and sit in the pew and listen to a sermon, whatever. I would like to see it become more of a community drop-in center. Maybe people, and this is what the last pastor, Pastor Heather Audrey, envisioned for the church, or as a part of her vision, is having people come in if they just want prayer. Come in and meet with someone, or if they're in crisis. I told you I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Just really meeting them in the moment. Not always on Sundays or a Tuesday night Bible study or prayer, but really just meeting people where they are in that moment and having the doors open. Again, not just the prescribed times that churches are usually open, but at other times, because people's lives, they're always in motion. Things are always happening. So really being available to them during those times, I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
Now, we also have a parsonage, which is a house that the pastor of the church can live in, which is right next door. I don't live there. But one of the things I talked with Pastor Jared Spalding, another pastor at the church, interim pastor, he talked about making that a missionary house so that they could stay there and do some work in the community also, which I think, at first I was like, well, wait a minute, maybe I want to move in that house. I'm like, no, I like this idea better. So yes, making that into a missionary house, I think that would be wonderful.
No, those all sound like, they do sound like really great ideas, and really expanding into the community, making it more accessible for anyone who wants to go there.
That's right.
So you said you don't just look at it as like, oh, church is a separate thing that I have to be a certain way to go to.
Right. It's been that way too long. Church has been separate. We've been really insular. I might have said that last time, where we really just keep to ourselves. How can we have an effective ministry if all we're doing is ministering to ourselves and taking care of our own needs? Yeah, we're supposed to do that, but we're supposed to go out. It says go and make disciples, not stay here and make disciples. We're supposed to be disciples, so we need to get out, go out into the community and welcome everybody we come into contact with, because it's all about love.
They sound like such amazing programs, such great ways to reach out into the community, and I'm glad you were able to come back on so that we could talk about it a little bit more in detail, like give some more details on it.
I'm glad you had me. Anytime.
Of course. Thank you for coming on
Thank
again.
you, Danielle.
Of course. And once again, this has been the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori. We will see you next week with more guests.
Next up, the community calendar. LCTV is teaming up with concerned citizens of Lynn to host Photos with Santa on Monday, November 21st from 5 to 8 p.m. Come to LCTV, 181 Union Street to get a professional photo with Santa and donate a toy to the Concerned Citizens of Lynn annual drive. Last year, Concerned Citizens of Lynn wrapped and delivered over 4,000 gifts. On Monday, the 28th, the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce and City of Lynn are hosting a Festival of Lights from 4 to 6 p.m. The lighting of a tree and menorah, as well as performances by North Shore Christian School and St. Mary's Choir, will make for a night of holiday fun. Tuesday, the 29th at 4 p.m. is the City of Lynn holiday lighting. The lighting and sing-along will kick off the event. Pictures with Santa and activities at City Hall are also available, with a movie beginning at 6 p.m. For a complete list of events happening in the city, head to lyntv.org/events. That brings us to the end of this week's news. Visit our website, lyntv.org, to see our news packages, press releases, and community calendar. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lynn Community Television, to watch all our videos. And follow us on social media at Lynn Community Television to stay up to date on all the latest events and happenings in the city. I'm Dani Vittori, and this is LCTV News. There will be no broadcast next week due to the holiday, so happy Thanksgiving and have a safe and happy holiday.